Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to Parth Online Tutorials. Let's continue our chapter Microorganism. In the previous video, we have done some important topics of this chapter like what is microorganisms, where it found, and the types of microorganisms. In today's video, we're going to discuss the useful microorganisms, harmful microorganisms, and the last topic is food preservation. So let's start with the first topic, useful microorganisms. How can microorganisms give benefit to us? So I already have written some 4 main fields where microorganisms give benefits to us. And what are that? Number 1, in food and beverage industries, making medicines and vaccines, in cleaning the environment, and in agriculture also microorganisms give benefit to us. That's why we call them useful microorganisms. Not all, but some microorganisms give benefit to us. Okay. Number 1, in food and beverage industries, how microorganisms give benefit to us? For making curd, for making cheese, making bread with the help of fermentation process, making idli, dosa, dokla, to produce alcohol or drinks. These are the main 4 fields where microorganisms help us. How bacteria or how microorganisms help in the making of curd? A bacteria named lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is the bacteria that helps to convert milk into curd or cheese. So these bacteria help in the making of curd and cheese. Yeast is an example of fungi. Yeast is an example of fungi that helps in the production of bread, idli, dosa, and dokla. Okay, and yeast also help in the production of alcohol in the beverage industries where beer and whiskey, wines are producing. Algin belongs to algae microorganism family, helps in the production of ice creams. To improve the categories of ice cream, to improve the quality of ice cream, normally industries uses algin. So these are the fields where microorganisms somewhere help us. Number 2, how they help in making medicines. It is a very interesting topic, my dear students. Most of the medicines that exist on our earth, on our world, in our world, comes from the body of microorganism. One of the most important medicine is antibiotics. Antibiotics are the chemicals that are producing from the other microorganisms. And what are the function of antibiotics? It is the chemicals that exist in the body of microorganisms. This is the chemical that helps to kill the bacteria, harmful bacteria that causes disease in your body, like penicillin, streptomycin, tetracycline, erythromycin. Never forget, you should know these names because very often we take these medicines. Okay, what? Penicillin, streptomycin, tetracycline, and erythromycin are the common antibiotics that is used to kill the harmful bacteria or suppress the bacterial disease in your body. Okay, next is vaccination. Yes, vaccination also developed from the bodies or the dead microbes or very weak microbes. If virus is creating disease in your body, so what scientists do, what laboratories do, they take a small amount of microbes from the infected person and inject in the healthy person. What is the main purpose? The main purpose is to build the immunization, to build the antibodies in the healthy persons. So whenever the real disease come in the healthy person, तो उसको ज़्यादा कोई problem नहीं होगी because they already have developed immune system that is developed by the vaccination. So vaccination, antibiotics are the main field where microorganisms help us. Even insulin. What are insulin? Insulin developed from the bacteria. Insulin is a hormone that should be in optimum condition in a healthy body. If it is not present in excess, or it is not present in optimum condition in the healthy body, the person will suffer from the diabetic, from the sugar disease. He will be a diabetic patient if it does not have an optimum quantity of insulin in his body. So what he can do in that case, insulin is a artificial insulin that develops from the bacteria, is injected into the diabetic patient body, so it can easily survive. Next is how it can help in cleaning environment. क्या microorganism environment को clean करने में help करते हैं? Yes, they do. How? First, decomposition of the dead bodies of animals, the dead remains of animals. For example, in forest, if they do not exist, if microorganism, imagine a case, if microorganism do not help in the decomposition of the dead remains of animals, what will happen then? There is a number of the piles of dead bodies exist on earth. Okay, lot of space wastage, so and spread of disease also in that cases. So like fungi and bacteria are the main players in that case. They decompose all the dead remains in our earth. Next is when the dead bodies is completely decomposed, the nutrients present in the dead bodies again restored to the soil. So nutrients is restored again to the soil. That is number 2 benefit to the environment. Next, oxygens also develop from the algae, because algae has a plant-like features like plants. They do photosynthesis and give oxygen to the atmosphere. Same case, the same process is going on in algae, and they also help, they also boost up the environment by giving of oxygen. How they help in agriculture? A very important bacteria named Rhizobium. Never forget this name. Rhizobium is the bacteria that is present in the roots, nodules, roots of pulses of your pulses, like जितने भी आपकी ये जैसे पल्सेस हो गया या आपकी ग्राउंड नट्स होंगी, जो भी आपके जो ऐसे प्लांट्स हैं जो प्रोटीन्स वाली वेजिटेबल्स प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, जो प्रोटीन्स प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, ठीक है, तो वहां पर ही प्रेजेंट होते हैं एंड दे हेल्प इन द फिक्सेशन ऑफ नाइट्रोजन. जो नाइट्रोजन है, एटमॉस्फेरिक नाइट्रोजन, आपके एटमॉस्फेयर में ऑक्सीजन भी है, नाइट्रोजन भी है, बट वी कैन नॉट फिक्स, वी कैन नॉट यूज नाइट्रोजन बिकॉज वी हैव नॉट अ पर्टिकुलर टाइप ऑर्गन दैट फिक्स nitrogen, that take nitrogen. But some plants like legume plants like pulses is that case. Legumes plants have bacteria named Rhizobium in their root. They fix the nitrogen, and after that plant will use that nitrogen and help in the production of proteins. Okay, so in agriculture also we are using some bacteria. So these all over, these are all discussions of useful microorganism. Next topic is harmful microorganism. Next is harmful microorganisms. Some organisms, some tiny organisms that exist in our earth and that cause problem, that create problem for us, for other organisms, are called harmful microorganisms. And we have two different terms also for harmful microorganism. Number 1 is pathogen and germs. They are the microorganisms which cause problem for the other organisms, are called pathogens or germs. Okay. Number 1, microorganism cause diseases in the bodies, in human bodies. That's why we are calling them harmful microorganisms, because they cause disease in our body. Number 2, microorganisms spoil food. So these two important drawbacks due to the harmful microorganism or due to the pathogens or germs. Okay, they cause disease, but how they travel, how they reach to our body, हमारी बॉडी में एंटर कैसे करते हैं, how they enter. Pathogens, germs or harmful microorganisms enter through air. They can enter through food and water. They enter through direct contact. They can take help of insects, or they enter through cut and wounds. Number 1, how they enter, how they spread, how pathogen or germs enter through air in our body. Sometimes a infected person sneeze, or during coughing, the air droplets that comes out from the infected persons enter in the air. And when a healthy person do respiration and take inhalation, that infected droplets can be enter into the healthy person. And what are the diseases that spread through air? Cold, flu, chickenpox, tuberculosis, measles, and many more. These are the examples of diseases that spreads through air, because the pathogens that create disease spread through air. Number two, how pathogens enter in our body through food and water. A water that containing germs or pathogens are called contaminated food and contaminated water. Infected food and infected water is called contaminated food and water. When a healthy person takes this food and water, he or she will be infected some water or foodborne diseases like typhoid, hepatitis, cholera. These are the diseases that spread through contaminated food and water. Direct contact like handshake, hug. These are the contacts. Ringworm, common cold, and chickenpox are diseases that through direct contact. Insects. Some pathogens or germs takes help of insects like mosquitoes. Most of the diseases spread through mosquitoes like malaria, dengue, chikungunya, Zika virus. These are the diseases that spread through mosquitoes. Female Anopheles. A mosquito named female Anopheles spread malaria pathogens. And dengue virus is spread through Aedes mosquito. The name of that mosquito is Aedes mosquito. Okay. Tetanus is a disease that spread through cuts and wounds. When a healthy person got injured in a field, there might be chances that soil particles that contain bacteria that cause tetanus enters in that body, and if it entered, it creates a disease called tetanus. But how can we stop the spread of these pathogens or germs? We have many methods. We have many way that with the help of that methods we can easily stop the spreading of these microorganisms. But here a term communicable disease. What do you mean by communicable disease? Here we learn the diseases. These are the name of disease. But what is communicable disease? A disease that spread from one person to another is called communicable disease. Means that communicate between the persons. That type of disease is called communicable disease. How they communicate? Because their micro is communicable. With the help of their micro spread through air, water and contact. So how can we prevent the spread of communicable disease? Number one, isolate the person. A person that is suffering from these type of diseases should be isolated. If we keep that person separate from the healthy person, there might be chances it will not spread. Okay, separate utensils, separate clothes should be given to the isolated or infected person. Number two, limiting the breed of what? Insects. If we stop the breeding, stop the reproduction of mosquitoes, most of the disease will not spread, because they are the carriers of disease. They carry the disease from one person to another. If we stop the reproduction if we stop their families, if we stop the number of their families, we can easily control the disease, the spread of disease. Okay. Next, microorganisms spoil food. Yes, they spoil food. They destroy the food. We daily face a number of cases in our kitchen, like souring of milk, दूध खट्टा हो जाता है, putrefaction of meat, the smelling of meat, rotting potatoes, tomatoes and other vegetables, सड़ना उनका, fermentation of juices. अगर हम जूस को थोड़ी देर देते हैं तो उसका टेस्ट बिल्कुल डिफरेंट हो जाता है, because fermentation is going on with the help of some microorganism like yeast that is present in our nature. Fungus is present in our nature. Growth of mold, bread के ऊपर green color की एक layer develop हो जाती है, that is bread mold. And if we consume that destroyed food, that spoiled food, we might suffering from food poisoning. Okay, so these are the topic harmful microorganism. Next is food prevention. If microorganisms can spoil our food, it is our duty that we should prevent the food from spoilage. How can we do this? We can do this with the help of two steps, that is killing the microorganism. If we kill the microorganism, there is a maximum chances that our food cannot spoil. Number two, if we stop the growth of microorganism, this is the second method with the help of which can prevent our food from spoilage. How can we follow these steps? With the help of some methods, we can do these two steps. Number one, heating. If we heat the milk or water, we can easily destroy the bacteria. Most of the bacteria in water and milk can be destroyed by heating. This method is also called ultra heat treatment. UHT, ultra heat treatment. What we do in this method, we heat the milk or water up to 135 degrees Celsius. It's a very high temperature. We should heat the milk or water up to this temperature for 1 or 2 seconds. This simple process kills most of the bacteria in milk and water. Number two, pasteurization of milk. Most of the milk that is present in our surroundings in the milk dairies like Amul milk and Mother Dairy milk, they all are packed in a tetra packed, and a special word is mentioned on the above packing is pasteurized milk. This method is done by Louis Pasteur. What we do in this pasteurization, we heat the milk up to 70 degrees Celsius for half minute. Means for 30 seconds we have to heat the milk up to 70 degrees Celsius, and just after that we have to cool it quickly. Cooling it quickly. This process is called pasteurization of milk, and this process kills most of the bacteria especially in milk. Okay. Number third, cooling. Cooling is another method with the help of which we can easily prevent our food. We are using refrigerator in our homes that keep our food up to 5 degrees Celsius. And this temperature is not favorable for the reproduction of microorganisms. They cannot increase their numbers. If they cannot increase their number, there is less chances of food spoilage. And some industries uses, and some hotels, restaurants uses deep freezer. What is going on deep freezer? It keeps the temperature minus 18 degrees Celsius. So they can easily prevent the food from spoilage for many days. Okay. Number three, chemical preservatives present in the markets that are using in the packed food like sauce, jams, okay, and other liquids. Using sodium benzoate is an example of chemical preservative. That is a common example, and most of the industries are using this chemical preservative to prevent the food from spoilage. And an example is sauce. You can check in your homes that sodium benzoate is mentioned in your sauce. Next, salt, sugar and oil. These are the common preservative methods that that is used by our moms and grandmothers, and currently they are using also in making pickles. How they can preserve pickles? How they can preserve pickles from the food spoilage? With the help of salt, sugar, oil. These are the natural preservatives. These are the chemical preservatives, and these are the natural preservatives. Vinegar is also used in the pickles, and it helps in the spoilage, prevention of the spoilage of food. Drying, or you can say dehydration. If we remove the water content from the food, from the vegetables, from the foods, if we remove all of the water content, there is a less chances of spread of the microorganisms, because they need some amount of water for the reproduction. If water is not there, they cannot easily develop. Okay. Last is canning. Airtight can. If we keep our food in the airtight can, there is a less chances of the entry of microorganism from the air to the food. So these are the main methods with the help of which we can prevent our food. Thank you. नाउ योर चैप्टर इज कंप्लीट हेयर और सिलेबस आल्सो, अब आपका सिलेबस भी कंप्लीट हो गया, अब हम रिवीजन स्टार्ट करेंगे। थैंक यू।